Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to the Steam 2 video. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at another one of the Rider 9 weapons. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the double fire grenade launcher, the Wilderflight. So we're going to be taking a look at the perks, if they have any interesting combinations, what are the god rules, and at the end we'll talk a little about the weapon, the things that I like, the things that I dislike, and if I think that it's better now than it used to be before, and if I think that you should be grinding for this weapon. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, remember to like and subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. Now let's get into it, and let's start with how to actually get the weapon. And just like the other weapons from this event, you're going to be able to get this from wearing the Spire of the Stars in the Rider 9. The higher the difficulty, the rarer you might get some adepts, some holofoils, but this should be able to drop with the new perks on any difficulty. And this weapon comes with two different origin traits. The original, Ted's Balance Stock, which is going to give you increased reload speed, movement, and also handling whenever you do some hit fire damage. And also the brand new perk, Gravity Well. Whenever you reload this weapon, it automatically gathers nearby ammo. This perk is really good. I actually really liking this perk, and it makes just picking up ammo like something you don't really think about. You're just constantly sucking the ammo up, especially since you have to reload this grenade launcher after every single shot if you don't have like an auto loading perk. And now let's actually move on and let's take a look at the good stuff, and by that I mean the perks in the weapon. We're going to be taking a look at each perk on both slots, and then we're going to go a little bit more in depth into some of the best ones that I think that you should be going for. Now this weapon is definitely more PvE focused, so we'll pretty much focus on PvE when it comes to talking about this grenade launcher. And now let's move on and let's take a look at the very first trait perk. So these are the options that we're going to have for the very first trait perk. We have auto loading holster, repulsor brace, slide shot, reverberation, MBS arsenal, and lastly demolitionist. And there's definitely a couple of interesting choices, but the main ones that we're going to be looking at are going to be auto loading, slide shot, and MBS arsenal. We're essentially just going to be looking for a perk that makes it a lot easier to fire this weapon without having to manually reload it, since that's like the worst part about these type of grenade launchers. So first of all, let's start with the easiest one, auto loading holster. When you holster this weapon, it automatically gets reloaded after a certain period of time. At base it's 3.5 seconds, and whenever you enhance it, it becomes so much better. Auto loading holster is still a fantastic perk if you're doing rotations, and also if you're using this weapon for more utility like disorienting grenades. This is something that perfectly goes with this weapon, since you're not going to be firing the weapon just over and over again or switching to the weapon every few seconds. You can really take advantage of auto loading holster, and basically every time that you want to use it, it'll be ready to go. But it does get outclassed by another other perks that we're going to talk about. But before we get to that one, let's actually talk about slide shot. Slide shot is going to auto reload the weapon whenever you slide, and it still gives you a bit of extra range and stability, but we don't really care about that second part. This is going to give you the ability to reload every couple of seconds just by sliding, so you can really get a lot of shots out there very quickly. So you actually want to increase the uptime of your time with the grenade launcher without having to use constantly reload it. This is going to be perfect. And this does pair with a couple of other perks that are really good if you're just constantly firing the weapon, like destabilizing or frenzy. Just constantly having extra damage, constantly use reloading with slide shot. And the last perk I want to talk about is going to be MBS Arsenal. Whenever you deal damage to both of the other weapons before readying this weapon, it will reload it from reserves. And if you're trying to incorporate this weapon into your damage rotation, then this is pretty much what you want. You're constantly going to be switching to other weapons and doing damage with them, meaning that every time that you switch to this weapon, it'll be reloaded and ready for you to shoot. And if you combine this with bait and switch, then you're going to have that 30% increased damage, which is just perfect. So if that's what you want to go for, then this is pretty much going to be the best perk. And these three are pretty much going to be like the best perks that you can get in this weapon, and the ones that you should be going for. And now let's move on to the second trait perk. Now these are the options we have for the second perk. We have destabilizing, left from gold, frenzy, purple, withering gaze, and also bait and switch. And let's start from the top with destabilizing rounds. Now usually I would never really recommend destabilizing rounds on a grenade launcher like this one, but this one has a little bit of an exception because of slide shot. If you want to use add clear and have even more explosions already with your explosions, then these stabilizing rounds can actually be a pretty solid choice. It won't be the best, and I definitely think that there are other choices where these stabilizings can probably work better, but it is something you can go with, and thanks to slide shot being able to use constant reload, it means that you're going to be able to use this a lot of the time. Purple is going to be another pretty good choice. It is only a 15% damage increase, but the great thing about Purple is that it doesn't require any setup. Against some of those bigger enemies, they're always going to be doing that 15% extra damage without having to do anything. You just constantly have it, and if you're not really using the grenade launcher a lot, this could be a pretty good choice and something to go with. Similarly to that, we have Withering Gaze. I think this is the very first time we're actually seeing Withering Gaze on one of these things. And I found this to be pretty okay. It is one of the few weapons with Withering Gaze that can actually do an AoE apply because it's an explosion. But I do just kinda tend to prefer Withering Gaze on things like primary weapons. I just feel like that perk kinda works a little bit better on the primary weapons. Applying your buff with your primary and then being able to do some big damage with your special or your heavy. But when we have it on a special, we're pretty much just relying completely on the heavy ammo. So I just kinda didn't end up liking it, so I wouldn't really recommend it for the grenade launcher. And then the final perk that we're talking about is going to be bait and switch. And this is what you want to go with if you're going to go for those damage rotations with this grenade launcher. It's the biggest damage buff that you can use, and when you pair it with the MBS arsenal, then it's just perfect since they both have essentially the same activation requirement. And when you pair this with other bait and switch weapons, it just works really well, and it's just like the ultimate grenade launcher for doing some damage swapping. So if that's what you want, then you pretty much always want to go for bait and switch. And those are going to be the best perks that I think you can go for on this grenade launcher. And now let's talk about everyone's favorite things, God Rolls. Now the first God Roll we're going to recommend is going to be MBS Arsenal on bait and switch. It just pairs up so well and it's going to fit effortlessly into your damage rotations. Now the second one is going to be Slideshot plus destabilizing rounds. This is the roll that you want to use. You want to use this weapon a lot more often and get a couple more of those explosions with the volatile. You're just constantly going to be making that and constantly getting volatile rounds on your weapon, while at the same time just constantly reloading with your Slideshot. And the last two rolls that I want to talk about are going to be pretty similar to each other, but they're both essentially going to be using auto-loading holster to make sure that this weapon is always reloaded whenever you need it. Now this is going to pair up really well with disorienting grenades, so if you're using this grenade launcher for its utility and its blinding capabilities, then these are the two rolls that you want to go for. You can go for auto-loading holster plus Whirlpool, that way it's always going to be ready for whenever you need it, and you're also going to be doing some extra damage to some of those bigger enemies, like let's say champions. And the second one is going to be auto-loading plus Lead from Gold. Lead from Gold is going to make it so you have just a lot more ammo on this weapon and can use it a lot more often. And if you're trying to have as much ammo as possible so you can just keep blinding targets, then this is going to be like your best bet. And this should pretty much guarantee that you never really run into any ammo issues. Every time that you need the weapon, it'll be ready to go, and you're always going to have a lot of ammo with this weapon. So you're always going to be able to blind a bunch of targets, and the blind is still ridiculously OP in GMs and activities like those. When everything's blind and nothing can shoot back, everything's just a lot easier to kill. So those are going to be the God Rolls that I recommend that you guys go for, and the ones that I think are the best ones. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about this weapon? Do you guys like it? Do you not like it? What is the God Roll that you guys are going to be going for? Or maybe you already got. Let me know that in the comments below. And now, let's talk a little bit about the weapon and just kind of my feelings on this weapon. And the first question I want to answer is this roll actually better than it used to be? And the answer to that is yes. I do think that this actually ended up getting better, and you'll probably see it a lot more than the old one. I did use the old one there once in a while, but it was something very rare, so I think I'll use it a little more. And that's not because specifically this weapon is bad. I just feel like the breach grenade launchers right now are not really that great, especially with the area denial frames just being so strong. There's like no reason to not really use an area denial frame right now, especially with some of those crazy perks that they can get. They're currently just really weak, that even a great one like this one with a lot of really good different perk combinations, I don't think it's gonna see a lot of play right now, till Bungie does something about the breach loaded grenade launchers to make them better. Now, if you do end up getting a good roll, I recommend you throw it in the vault, because we might see a lot of changes coming into the Edge of Fate, so there is a chance that these grenade launchers do get better. We don't know anything specific, we don't know if they're even getting changes, but that is something that could happen in Edge of Fate, especially with all the different changes that they're doing. Now, would I go out of my way to farm a specific really good roll from this? Currently, I just don't think it's worth it, so that's pretty much my take. But with that, we're gonna end today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like always, let me know what you guys think about this weapon in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of the day. Peace.